Hare Krishna Dinath Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. How are you, Prabhuji?
Yeah, thank you. I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yes, Prabhuji.
How are things there?
Yeah, fine, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean all okay so far.
Okay. So let me share the screen. I think we are supposed to read from verse number 28. So if someone would like to read, then we can begin. You able to see the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Anyone would like to read? Maybe Hemagori Mataji, you can read from verse 28 to verse number 50.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, 28 to 50. You're seeing the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can see the screen.
Yeah. Would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. King Puranjana gave up his body while remembering his wife, and consequently in his next life he became a very beautiful and well-situated woman. He took his next birth as the daughter of King Vidrabha in the very house of the king. It was fixed that Vaidarbhi, daughter of King Vidarbha, was to be married to a very powerful man, Malayadwaja, an inhabitant of the Pandu country. After conquering other princes, he married the daughter of King Virabha. King Malayadwaja fathered one daughter who had...
Vidarbha.
Sorry. Prabhuji?
King Vidarbha.
Yes, Prabhuji. I'm reading text 30, Prabhuji. King Malayadwaja. Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji. King Malayadwaja fathered one daughter who had very black eyes. He also had 7 sons who later became rulers of that tract of land known as the Dravida. Thus, there were 7 kings in that land. My dear King Prachina, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
I have closed by accident the page.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have once again shared it. Please let me know.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. My dear King Prachina Barhisat. Sorry, Prabhuji. My dear King Prachina Barhisat, the sons of Malayadwaja gave birth to many thousands and thousands of sons, and all of these have been protecting the entire world up to the end of one Manu's lifespan and even afterward. The great sage named Agasya married the first-born daughter of Malayadwaja, the avowed devotee of Lord Krishna. From her one son was born, whose name was Dhritarashtra, and from him another son was born, whose name was Idmavada. Prabhuji, sorry, Prabhuji. It's actually Tejan's got up. From text 33. Can someone? After this, the great saintly king Malayadwaja divided his entire kingdom among his sons. Then, in order to worship Lord Krishna with full attention, he went to a solitary place known as Kulachala. Just as the moonshine follows the moon of night, immediately after King Malayadwaja departed for Kulachala, his devoted wife, whose eyes were very enchanting, followed him, giving up all homely happiness despite family and children. In the province of Kulachala, there were rivers named Chandravasa, Tamrapani, and Vatodaka. King Malayadwaja used to go to those pious rivers regularly and take his bath there. Thus, he purified himself externally and internally. He took his bath and ate bulbs, seeds, leaves, flowers, roots, fruits, and grasses, and drank water. In this way, they underwent severe austerities. Eventually, he became very skinny. Through austerity, King Malayadwaja in body and mind gradually became equal to the dualities of cold and heat, happiness and distress, wind and rain, hunger and thirst, the pleasant and the unpleasant. In this way, he conquered all relativities. By worshipping, executing austerities, and following the regulative principles, King Malayadwaja conquered his senses, his life, and his consciousness. Thus, he fixed everything on the central point of Supreme Brahman, Krishna. In this way, he stayed immovable in one place for 100 years by the calculation of the demigods. After this time, he developed pure devotion attraction for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and remained fixed in that position. King Malayadwaja attained perfect knowledge by being able to distinguish the super soul from the individual soul. The individual soul is localized, whereas the super soul is all pervasive. He became perfect in knowledge that the material body is not the soul, but that the soul is the witness of the material body. In this way, King Malayadwaja attained perfect knowledge because in his pure state he was directly instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By means of such enlightening transcendental knowledge, he could understand everything from all angles of vision. King Malayadwaja could thus observe that Super Soul was sitting by his side and that he, as the individual soul, was sitting by the side of Super Soul. Since both were together, there was no need for separate interests. Thus, he ceased from such activities. The daughter of King Vidarbha accepted her husband in all as the supreme. She gave up all sensual enjoyment and in complete renunciation followed the principles of her husband, who was so advanced. Thus, he remained engaged in his service. The daughter of King Vidarbha wore old garments, and she was lean and the thin because of her vows of austerity. Since she did not arrange her hair, it became entangled and twisted in locks. Although she remained always near her husband, she was as silent and unagitated as the flame of an undisturbed fire. The daughter of King Vidarbha continued as usual to serve her husband, who was seated in a steady posture until she could ascertain that he had passed away from the body. While she was serving her husband by massaging his legs, she could feel that uh, his feet were no longer warm and could thus understand that he had already passed from the body. She felt great anxiety upon being left alone. Bereft of her husband's company, she felt exactly as the deer feels upon being separated from his mate. Being now alone and a widow in the forest, daughter of Vidarbha began to lament, incessantly shedding tears with which soaked her breasts and crying very loudly. Oh, best of kings, please get up. Just see this world surrounded by water and infested with rogue and so-called kings. This world is very much afraid, and it is our duty to protect her. The most obedient wife thus fell down at the feet of her dead husband and began to cry pitifully in that solitary forest. Thus the tears rolled down from her eyes. She then prepared a blazing fire with firewood and placed a dead body of her husband upon it. When this was finished, she lamented severely and prepared herself to perish in the fire with her husband. My dear king, one Brahmana
I
who was
think, yeah, let's
yes,
finish
Prabhu.
till 50. I think that's already a big, yeah,
Okay,
task.
Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. How was this reading on a Saturday morning?
Yeah, it was a little bit heartbreaking also, and at the same time, to distinguish between soul and super soul, mind and
Mm.
body and soul, really helping Prabhuji what is needed exactly to concentrate on the Supreme Lord. How what
Mhm.
is austerity? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथा मह्यं ददति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी ऋषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. Firstly, thank you very much, Yamagori Mataji, for reading this wonderful part of the chapter. And by the blessings of Srila Prabhupada through his purports, and yeah, by the blessings of all great acharyas. Firstly, let me know if the voice is okay, or should I need to speak a little loud? I'm not using a mic.
It's okay, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. So we are talking about Puranjan becomes a woman in the next life. This is very interesting. I think last week we discussed about how the signs of transmigration happens. So one may think that there is no life beyond this life, so we should enjoy it. Or oh, some may think that, oh, so nice if I would be a boy, or if would I be a man, or if I would even. Sometimes some people ask, hey, you like your dog so much, but your life, next life, you may become a dog. He is very happy, thinking, wow, because maybe he has appreciation for dog's life. So, given a chance, and in fact, that is also a fact. It's not just a chance, but it's a fact that one who takes care of himself with his thoughts, desire, actions, everything. I think last week we discussed how this transmigration happens. That is mentioned in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And then a person who is very much attached to a female body, then he will get a female body next life, and vice versa. Or if someone becomes more demoniac, then he would get a body more in that nature. So this is all which we discussed, and we are continuing. Narad Muni is telling to Prajina Parishad, King Prachina Parishad, who is a king who is deemed a successful materialist king. Why? Because he performs yajnas so that he can clear his sinful acts of hunting or desiring for women, for pleasure, and all these things. Um, just like in today's world, we are trying so many things so that we can be free from such kind of effects, bad effects, ill effects. And then we go to maybe a charitable organization, we give some charity, or we go to a spiritual organization, and we spend the money, whatever we have earned, to clear our debts in terms of all these um, uh, overdrafted. Yeah, so we have done so much overdrafting. What does that means? That Lord has already given so much. He has already given a wonderful opportunity in this form of life, and overdrafting is actually even exploiting more this earth. Like Hiranyaksha was exploiting the earth. He was digging down, down, down so that he can get more and more gold, and that he can become very rich, very wealthy, and very strong, very prominent. So in this business, we have been doing so much of overdrafting, which means whatever we are eligible, we are exploiting the nature, Lord's resources even more. And in this process, we are committing some offenses. In this process, we are committing some criminal acts, which lead to a sinful life. And we may think that somehow we may escape it, but it's not going to be so easy. Because when the Prajvara comes, when the fever of Vishnu comes, it's mentioned this 107 degrees of fever when one dies, and when this Kala Kanya, the time, both don't wait. They don't see that, hey, you have not hit the lucky number 75. If some astrologer would have told you that you will live for 75 years, 100 years, no, that is only a relative number, which means everyone lives 100 years. But only thing is, we don't know what is that real figure of 100 years means. Means it can be 5 years, or it can be 10 years, it can be 100 years, or even less or more. It means to say that one has to die. And one, when dies, what happens is mentioned by Narad Muni to Prajna Parishad to wake up. Just like how we are so much busy in our day-to-day life that we don't really think about next life. We don't really want to think about that, because we want to make this life very successful. Let it be so comfortable, let it be so successful, but we don't know what is the definition of success. So in this part, we are going to discuss not what happened to Puranjan, death, but what happened afterwards. This is very important. After all, Puranjan, yeah, he was looking for the real intelligence. So he went out, he didn't get it, he came back home, and then again he got carried away in his pleasure with his dear wife. And finally, because he was singing so much about his dear wife, what happened was he had to eventually leave the body. Yeah, this is what happened. And then he took the body of a Vidarbhi, the daughter of King Vidarbha. So Prabhupada mentions in the verse 27 very much. The translation itself is due to his contaminated association with women. A living entity like King Puranjan eternally suffers all the pangs of material existence and remains in the dark region of material life, bereft of all remembrance for many, many years. This is the condition. That's the reason we say we are dull-headed. The reason why we are dull-headed is we forget. And the most unfortunate thing is we don't remember the most important thing. But what is that most important thing is Nashta Smriti. We have forgotten our real identity as the servant of Krishna. When we have forgotten that, whatever anything else, we may become expert scientists, we may become expert economists, we may become the best politicians, but everything is waste, because to save human civilization from darkness of ignorance, what is needed is Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada writes, this movement was started for that purpose. The main purpose of Krishna consciousness movement is to enlighten the forgotten living entity and remind him of his original Krishna consciousness. Any other spiritual institute, if it is not fulfilling this objective, that one's spiritual awakening is not, spiritual identity is not awakened, that is just kind of a bogus or a pseudo religion or pseudo guru or all these things. In this way, the living entity can be saved from the catastrophe of ignorance as well as bodily transmigration. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung, Anadi karma phale padi bhavarnava jale tari bhare na dekhi upaya ye vishaya hala hala diva nishi hiya jwale mana kabu sukha nahi paye. Because of my past fruitive activities, I have now fallen into an ocean of nescience. I cannot find any means to get out of this great ocean, which is indeed like an ocean of poison. We are trying to be happy through sense enjoyment, but actually that so-called enjoyment is like food that is too hot and causing burnings in the heart. I feel a burning sensation constantly, day and night, and thus my mind cannot find satisfaction. So that's the beauty of the great bhajans that acharyas have left us as a treasure. Uh, the bhajans are the means through which we can develop detachment from the material enjoyment or material things that we have been thinking as that we count more on them for our happiness. But the reality is so bad. And through the Sharanagati prayers, we can develop this mood of how to become surrendered soul. There might be so many things that are happening in around us in our day-to-day life. But as soon as when we accept this path of Sharanagati, we understand that, hey, this metal, what is it? It's like halahal. It's a poisonous that too. It's like very, very hot food. Yeah, we think that it's food, let me eat, but it's not like that. It's very, very hot that as soon as you put in the mouth, yeah, your tongue burns, your mouth burns. Yeah, if it goes more, and then what happens? It causes burning in the heart. I feel a burning sensation constantly, day and night, and thus my mind cannot find satisfaction. So that is the condition of the material world. Um, it is it too exaggeration? No, it's not at all an exaggeration. Why? Because we can see this material world is full of anxiety. That anxiety is this what is burning us. Yeah, it's keeping on. Yeah, just like if our hand gets caught in fire, then all the time mind goes there. Similarly, we are caught up in so many anxieties, and always the mind goes there. Yeah. But because they are not guided by a real leader, then they try to forget the material existence through drink and sex indulgence. So this is what happens. What is happening is because we are not able to find the root cause and find the real medicine. So what we do is we are just finding some artificial means to mitigate, just like what do you call this? A painkiller. If one gets severe pain, then he's given a painkiller, so that relieves the pain, but it doesn't address the cause of the pain. So the word pramada sangha dushtita indicates that apart from all other contamination, if one simply remains attached to a woman, that single contamination will be sufficient to prolong one's miserable metal existence. No, no, Mataji's may excuse, but yeah, this is what Prabhupada is mentioning that um, it's not that okay. It's this um, group of beings are being targeted. No, what is happening is that there is no fault in the women, but the fault is in their forms and the nature's law that women are naturally attractive and women are also very, very soft, and so all these qualities are the cause of attachment. So we see in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in so many Puranas how women are even sent. Not only that, it is not we can when we see in Ramayana we can see how Ravan was attracted to women, and there were so many women. There was no fault of them, but it was because the demonic nature of the man, due to which he is attracted. Just like what is that said? Men are like butter and women are like fire. Fire means chastity, fire means purity, and and it is the weakness of the men due to which they get melted and attracted, and due to this, what is happening? Irrespective of how are women. The fact becomes that Pramada Sangha Dushita. So if one is attracted to women, because of this attraction is so strong, even one may handle the attraction to wealth. If one is too much attracted to wealth, he may give it up. He understands, after all, this doesn't save my life. This doesn't make me free from disturbances around me. No, but when it comes to women, it becomes even more difficult. Consequently, Vedic civilization was trained from beginning to give up attachment for women. This is very, very important. If you see, the more we go into the South India, we see there is so much orthodox, orthodox practices still, yeah, there. Why? For a good reason. Why? Because one has to be trained from the early age, where one takes up to brahmacharya life from beginning, which means it's not only for male, it's also for female, which means the girls are to be properly protected, trained how they should dress themselves, how they should behave, how they should engage in serving, because the role of a man, once he gets into grihastha life, and the role of a woman once she gets into grihastha life, are to be trained. It doesn't all of a sudden fall from sky and then one starts becoming a perfect husband or a perfect wife, but that has to be trained. So the first stage of life is brahmacharya and the second is grihastha. So brahmacharya is a preparation for the next life. And always His Holiness Kadambakaran Maharaj mentions, that, yeah, he was saying that, yeah, when one gets married, on that night, the same night, yeah, first night, one should already think how he can prepare for the next life, which is the next stage. Third stage is vanaprastha. Otherwise, one may simply get carried away in day-to-day life, and he might be thinking, "Hey, after all, I see, is vanaprastha life really a reality? I think it was there. Maybe now the facilities are not like that. The environment is not that. I think there is no more varnashram system. So when there is no varnashram system, how can I expect more? Let me just continue to live in grihastha life." No, there is grihastha life is not the end. We should be very, very serious. We should really plan towards that, that we should finish off all our duties. If we may have started late, we may have to figure it out how we can finish it quickly. If we have started early, then we could even start the third stage early. So in one way or the other, yeah, I mean, I can yeah, refer back to His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj, who very, very in detail explained about this, without any compromise, so that one should get into into vanaprasthashram. And if one can maintain a proper lifestyle, then he can also go into the sannyas. All these stages are devised to enable one to detach himself from the association of women. Prabhupada writes in the, so the varnashram is the soul. We may think, hey, why is ISKCON not 100% following varnashram? Varnashram means it should be like this, like that, like this. Yeah, one should be very careful to see that varnashram itself is not everything. Sometimes we may think, hey, one may not remember Bhagavan, but he may or not practice Krishna consciousness properly, but he is too much uh, looking about varnashram. I should be part of the varnashram only. No, the varnashram, if one develops very genuine and spontaneous attachment for Krishna, and he continues consistently under the guidance of spiritual master, he or she can always, yeah, can engage in the Bhagavat Marg. So they are not in the varnashram system, but not everyone can choose whatever they want. Hey, I want to be, I see all the thorns. I see so many thorns in this varnashram system. Yeah, leading a brahmachari life means surrenderness. It's very difficult for me. I have a spontaneous bhav for worshipping the Lord. Let me develop that and become independent. So even if a spiritual master, even if her or his guru is telling you should do this, they say no, no, no. When I chant, I'm getting tears, and when I'm singing kirtan, you know what, goosebumps come every time. Yeah, but the spiritual master knows why are these coming. Because are these genuine or not? He is the right person who can tell, and he can say whether one is genuinely above in the limits of varnashram, or should be part of varnashram, because varnashram system is ideally helping one. It's just like a, what do you call this, braces, support system, through which one can carefully navigate through until one becomes um, steady in pure Krishna consciousness, in pure devotional service. And yeah, so a major role is played by if the association of women. One may say, the woman may say, then I don't have this problem. The problem for women is that if women are attracted to men for A, B, C reasons, they may also go through so much anxieties. They may also go through so much suffering. I think I was telling to Rupa 2 days back, there was a lady who came from a neighboring country. I don't know, you may know this country, Seychelles, something she said, which is near to Mauritius, and with a daughter. I think she was like 4 years. She came from there to Germany because yeah, there's a man who yeah, she got attracted, and she also started believing that man, that he said yeah he will marry, and after coming here they maybe have lived together after some time. Then she realized very soon that this man is a dirty man, and then instead of her flight was to fly on 1st of October, maybe with the man back to her country, but she escaped. She escaped from him. Yeah, he's a German. Then what happened? Yeah, then what she did is she was rebooking her flight instead of October to September, and yeah, why is this happening? Why is this so anxiety? Why is becoming so insecure? Yeah, there is always this. Yeah, one is attracted to the opposite sex, and the opposite sex is expecting only what can I get, what can I take, uh, rather than what can I give, how can I serve. Because man is attracted to woman, and with that he ends up becoming a woman, and a woman attracted to man. Um, what are the thoughts that come is in the end these, and then he is caught up. So hence this statement of what we see, Prabhupada mentions all these stages. Varnashram are devised to enable one to detach himself from the association of women. What is actually Varnashram? Varnashram is basically telling that one should live a civilized life, Arya, to become a real gentleman and gentlewoman, so that they can lead a very responsible life, and yeah, taking the support of these stages of life in whichever age one is. King Puranjan gave up his body while remembering his wife. This is what happened. And consequently, in his next life, he became a very beautiful and well situated woman. Now, interesting. Is it only like any man becomes any woman next? No, there is also this desire and the the fruit of what one has done. And consequently, in his next life, he became very beautiful and well-situated woman. He took his next birth as the daughter of King Vidarbha in the very house of the king. Huh? So she became actually princess. Princess, yeah. So Prabhupada writes, yeah, since the King Puranjan, thought of his wife at the time of death, he attained the body of woman. That is clear. Yeah, why? Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam chajantantya kalevaram. When one is leaving the body, whatever he is thinking, bhavam, what is his feeling, what is that he realized, that is what is going to come with him. Tantam evaiti kauntaya sada tad bhava bhavita. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. So this is what is happening. When one is absorbed in material thoughts, then he takes a life in the material world. He gets a materialistic life. And then in the purport, Prabhupada mentions, if he is absorbed in material thoughts and ignorant of spiritual life, and if he does not take shelter under the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, who solves all questions of birth and death, he will become a woman in next life, especially if he thinks of his wife. So yeah, it's very, very eye-opener. Yeah, because one may think that mm, is it not okay to, oh, 1 second. Huh? After all, this is what we agreed, right? After the time of marriage, I am going to protect, I am going to be with you for lives. So is it not then okay? But what is happening here is that if he is absorbed in the material thoughts, that is a important point. If the wife is devotee, if wife is devotional, and remembering her as a devotee will enable us to higher place, higher stage. Otherwise, what will happen is that, especially if he will become a woman in the next life, especially if he thinks of his wife. As stated in Bhagavatam, Karmana Daiva Netrena. A living entity acts piously and impiously, and sometimes in both ways. Hmm? Sometimes he is thinking, oh, what is happening? All actions are taken into account. Hmm? Everything is documented, everything is referred at the time of judgment. I think, yeah. Um, uh, so a living entity acts piously and impiously, isn't it? Sometimes we do good, sometimes we do bad, sometimes knowingly we may do good, or unknowingly we may do good. Hmm? Knowingly means we are in the mode of goodness and doing. Unknowingly means we are in the mode of ignorance, but still somehow we did good. Hmm? So, in one way or the other, if one does good, then in the next life it helps. And the living entity is offered a new body by his superiors. Who are the superiors? The demigods are going to do. There is this, what you call, I think in Christianity, there is this final judgment. Um, or in us, we see that here Yamaraj, one is taken to hell, and then he is being looked up his records. What did he do? Although King Puranjan was overly attached to his wife, he nonetheless performed many pious fruitive activities. Consequently, although he took the form of woman, he was given a chance to become the daughter of a powerful king. प्राप्य पुण्य कृतम लोकान उसित्वा शाश्वती समाह शुचीनाम श्रीमताम गेहे योग भ्रष्टो अभिजायते. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planet of pious living entity, is born into a family of righteous people or into the family of rich aristocracy. Why? Because he is a yogi, but he is unsuccessful in his mission. The mission is that he attains to the lotus feet of Govinda, or attain Mukunda's feet. But if not, then he is again given a chance. So if a person falls from the path of bhakti yoga, due to attachment to fruitive activity, philosophical speculation, or mystic yoga, he is given a chance to take birth in a high and rich family. Hmm. So fall from bhakti yoga due to, why is it happening? Due to attachment to karma yoga or karma kanda, jnana kanda, dhyana kanda, yoga, and all these things. He's given a chance to take birth in the higher. So the conclusion is that all our activities are taken into consideration before we are awarded another body. Hmm. So that's why Narad Muni advised Vyasadeva that one should take to Krishna consciousness, devotional service, and abandon all ordinary occupational duty. This advice was also given by Lord Krishna himself. Although a devotee may fall from the path of spiritual consciousness, he will nonetheless attain a human body in the home of a devotee or a rich man. In this way, one can resume his devotional service. So it is very important. It is very important that one practices bhakti. It is very important that one avoids committing offenses. It is very important that one avoids committing sins or impious activities. Because when we perform impious activities, what will happen is we incur sin. At least one should avoid that. What are these? No meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling, no illicit sex. Hmm. One need not go to Manu Samhita, open the book and start reading page one. Let me start understand everything Sanskrit. Yeah, after all, that would be the purest, authentic, authorized. All. In the simplest terms, it is avoid meat eating, avoid intoxication, avoid gambling, avoid intoxication. Four notes. This is already leading uh, free from impious life. And then what are the pious? Do just five things. What are the five things? At least do the five things. What is that? Reading Bhagavatam, yeah, hearing Bhagavatam from Bhagavatas, then chanting the holy name of the Lord, performing deity worship. Three are done. Associate with the devotees, sadhu sangha, and the fifth one is yatras, uh, going and living in the holy places like Mathura. So when we do these don'ts and do's, when we follow these, then one is saved from all the um, disturbances of the material world, of attraction and causing transmigration to the material world. So if one wants to migrate from a material life to spiritual life, this is also, I think it will come next week, or I think it may come this also. I'll just touch when it comes. उपये में वीर्य प्रणाम वैदर्भीम मलयध्वजा युधि निर्जित्व राजन्यान पांड्या पर it comes here next verse Puranjaya. So it was fixed that Vaidarbhi, this Puranjan who became Puranjani, is none other than this Vaidarbhi, the daughter of King Vidarbha, was to be married to a very powerful man. But how to find that? In the in Mahabharat we can see how Draupadi was won by Arjuna, isn't it? He has to shoot an arrow to the eye of a fish that is twirling up, by seeing it not directly but seeing its shadow or impression in the water below. Yeah. So similarly, Malaya Dhwaja, who is the inhabitants of Pandu country, after conquering other princes, uh, there are so many who come, right? There are so many who will come, and after conquering all, then he finally married the daughter of King Vidarbha. So Prabhupada writes, it is customary among Kshatriyas for a princess to be offered under certain conditions. It is not that when we see it was Janak Maharaj, he said that whoever lifts this Dhanush, Shiva Dhanush, whoever can bear the string to it, tie the string to it, can win my daughter Sita. As I was giving the example of in Mahabharata, in that way the Kshatriyas uh, um, should show the valor so that they can prove that they can protect his daughters or whoever is giving. The Vedic system is for a daughter of a king to be offered under certain conditions. Vaidarbhi, the daughter of Vidarbha, was offered to a great devotee and powerful king. Since King Malaya Dhwaja, I think, yeah, it will come here. Malaya Dhwaja was both a powerful king and great devotee. He fulfilled all the requirements. What is important? One should be very powerful. He was he was powerful and great king, great devotee. So if one is materialistically very, very strong, he may earn, yeah, a million a day. But still, if he is not a devotee, then what is the use? Rather, here we can see that one should have this, that he is a very powerful and a great devotee, and that is the fulfillment of the requirement that the king Vidarbha, the king of Vidarbha saw, and then the name Malaya Dhwaja signifies a great devotee who stands as firm as Malaya hill, and through his propaganda makes other devotees similarly as firm. So who is this Malaya Dhwaja? Is none other than some great Mahabhagavat, like, yeah, it could be King Ambarish Maharaj, yeah, King Janaka, a king, but he is not just a king. He's not like just a very, very successful king like yeah, Prachina Parishad, but he's king like Prithu Maharaj, uh, a king like Dasharath, who has conquered enemies in all directions. He is possible. Who is he? It's possible only when he is a Mahabhagavat. Such a Mahabhagavat can prevail over the opinions of others. So that's what it means. This Malayadwaja could defeat all the other princes who came to win the hand of this princess. I don't know, I mean, yeah, this girl, Vaidarbi. A strong devotee makes propaganda against all other spiritual conceptions, namely Jnana, Karma, and Yoga. Uh, with his devotional flag unfurled, he always stands fast to conquer other conceptions of transcendental realizations. Yeah, people may come that God is light, God is water, God is sun. So many people may come telling so many things, but yeah, one who is Mahabhagavat, he can establish against all these false agendas. He always stands fast to conquer. Whenever there is an argument between a devotee and a non-devotee, the pure, strong devotee comes out victorious. And it goes further. There is this, yeah, from where is he coming? From Pandya Raj, Pandu. The word Pandya comes from the word Panda, means knowledge. Unless one is highly learned, he cannot conquer non-devotional conceptions. The word para means transcendental and pura means city. Yeah. The para pura is Vaikuntha, the kingdom of God. And the word Jaya refers to one who has conquered. Hmm? This means that a pure devotee who is strong in devotional service and who has conquered all non-devotional conceptions can also conquer the kingdom of God. Huh? So, how amazing it is! It is that one can conquer Vaikuntha planet. How is it possible when one can conquer the Lord of Vaikuntha? How can one conquer the Lord? Through bhakti. Lord Krishna is fear personified for everyone, but he voluntarily agreed to be to fear the stick of Mother Yashoda. Krishna, God, cannot be conquered by anyone but his devotees. Such a devotee kindly married the daughter of King Vidarbha. And King Malayadwaja fathered one daughter and 7 sons. This is very, very, nice. Who is this one daughter and who is this 7 sons? He can see that King Malayadwaja was a great devotee, right? And after he married the daughter, he gave uh, mm, um, birth to a very nice daughter. She gave, whose eyes were black. Figuratively, this means that the daughter of King Malayadwaja was also bestowed with devotional service, for her eyes were always fixed on uh, Krishna, black. A devotee has no vision in his life other than Krishna. Then who are the 7 sons? The 7 sons are 7 process of devotional service: hearing, chanting, remembering, offering worship, offering prayers, rendering transcendental loving service, and serving the lotus feet of the Lord. One may have a question, but devotional services are 9. Why are they only 7? Why not 9 sons? It is that because of the 9 types of devotional service, only 7 were immediately given. The balance, which is Sakhyam Atmanivedanam, it comes at a later stage. That comes by engaging in the 7 processes. Then one comes to the platform of spontaneous devotional service. As we know, there is this Vidhi Marga, mm, proper sadhana, and there is Raga Marga. Raga Marga means spontaneous. These two are coming under the Sakhyam, and Atmanivedanam comes under this Raga Marga. In other words, devotional service can be divided into two. One is Vidhi Marga, second one is Raga Marga. The process of becoming friend with the Lord and sacrificing everything for Him belongs to the category of Raga Marga, the stage of developed devotional service. But for neophytes, what is that? Important processes are those of hearing and chanting, remembering Krishna, worshipping the deity in the temple, offering prayers, always engage in the service of the Lord, and worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. So, but then why is it that these 7 sons are powerful sons? The 7 sons of Malayadwaja is mentioned as very powerful. Why? Because Yavi Yasya indicates that these processes are very powerful. After a devotee engages in the process of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, and is able to secure these processes, he can later become a devotee capable of rendering spontaneous devotional service namely Sakyam Atmanivedanam. And then Prabhupada, there is this further reference. A neophyte devotee cannot actually become a preacher. A neophyte is advised to execute devotional service in the 7 other fields. If one can successfully execute the preliminary 7 items, he in the future be situated on the platform of Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. What is the examples given? Prabhupada writes, the specific mention of Dravida Desha refers to the 5 Dravida Deshas in South India. All are very strong in rendering the preliminary devotional service. Some great acharyas like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya also come from Dravida Desha and became great preachers. They were all situated on the platform of Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. I just highlighted what came in the purport, which we may relate. Then, my dear King Prachina Parishad, the sons of Malayadvaja gave birth to many thousands and thousands of sons. All of these have been protecting the entire world up to the end of one's Manu's lifespan and even afterward. So, this is what means. These 7 practices, we may say Shravanam. Let's say Shravanam. Shravanam means to hear, but to hear about the Lord is one. Hearing about the Lord's pastime, second. Hearing the Lord's qualities, hearing to the Lord's expansions, hearing to the Lord's uh, plenary portions, qualities, characters, uh, his pastimes, his creation. So all are still only coming under only what? Shravanam. And so many of hearing can also be engaged in speaking, Kirtanam, glorification of the Lord. And then remembering all these. So in that way, there are so many sons. Yeah. So here it is said that what it the sons of Malayadvaja gave birth to many thousands and thousands of sons, and all of these have been protecting the entire world. So whatever bhakti we may do, yeah, one may ask, hey, is chanting better or japa is better or is that is better or this? Let's, yeah, it is said that one should just engage in the devotional process. And then there is also further what happened that protects us across not this life, many lives. Yeah, it is said that all these have protected the entire world up to end of Manu's life span and even afterward, which means until we go back to Godhead, all these qualities, engagement, ourselves in devotional service will protect us. Among Vaishnavas, there may be, this is very important point. I think recently, Rupa, where did we come across this? We were giving reference now. We were talking about um, how Jayadvaita Maharaj was saying to deal with non-ISKCON acharyas, in Aachen, I think when we were discussing. Yeah, among Vaishnavas, there may be some differences of opinion due to everyone's personal identity. But despite all personal differences, the cult of Krishna consciousness must go on. There will be differences. Yeah, you may see there is so many branches, sub branches, or even complete splits and all these things. But we should understand Vaishnavas. There might be difference of opinions. One may say, "Hey, Tulsi Maharani worship is the topmost." One may say, "Farm community is topmost." One may say, "Goraksha is topmost." One may say, "Book distribution is the topmost." One may say, "Kirtans are the topmost." One may say, "Preaching is the topmost." So many. Yeah, this is why, because, but despite all personal differences, the cult of Krishna consciousness must go on. Uh, as yesterday we were reading, how can we support that? Prabhupada says that we can do by cooperating among each other. How we please Prabhupada. We can see that under instruction of Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj began preaching the Krishna consciousness movement in an organized way. We cannot just create our own things and I have an idea, let me do it like that. That's nice, but is it part of it? Part of the vision of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, is it coming through that? The disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur are all God brothers. And although there are some differences of opinion, and although we are not acting conjointly, every one of us is spreading this Krishna consciousness movement according to his own capacity and producing many disciples to spread it all over the world. As far as we are concerned, we have already started the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and many thousands of Europeans and Americans have joined this movement. Indeed, it is spreading like wildfire. Prabhupada is just giving that uh, uh, we appreciate, we respect others in the way that they are bringing Krishna consciousness to the world. The cult of Krishna consciousness, based on the 9 processes of devotional service, will never be stopped. It will go on without distinction of caste, creed, color, or country. No one can shake it. Uh, and then it goes further in this verse. There is word bhokshate is very important in this verse. Just as a king gives protection to his citizens, then these devotees, following the principles of devotional service, will give protection to all the people of the world. So the devotees will protect the world. We may think that no, devotees has no business to do anything. It's all about me and my God, me and my devotee community. But what is the purpose? What is happening out of compassion to the fellow fallen conditioned souls? The devotees will preach them the message of the Lord. And then in that way, just like a king is protecting his citizens or people, similarly, a devotee is making sure that he is spreading the word of Krishna all over and then protecting the world. The people of the world are very much harassed by so-called religious principled. Uh, there are so many religious principled swamis, yogis, karmis, gyanis, but none of these can show the right way to become elevated to the spiritual platform. There are preliminary 4 parties spreading devotional service all over the universe. Who are they? These are Ramanuja Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, and Nimbarka Sampradaya. The Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya in particular comes from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All these devotees are spreading this Krishna consciousness movement very widely and giving protection to innocent people who are being so much embarrassed by pseudo avatars, swamis, yogis, and others. And then what happened after that? This Vaidarbhi, what happened after? Yeah, she is given to Malaya Dhwaja, and then there is this daughter of Vaidarbhi, what she became, the daughter of Vaidarbhi, who is having great taste for Krishna. She got married to whom? A great sage named Agastya married the firstborn daughter of Malayadvaja, the avowed devotee of Lord Krishna. From her, one son was born whose name was Dhrudachyuta, and from him another son was born whose name is Idma Vaha. So in this way, how the things are expanding is very nice. It's very important also. If you see the purport, the name Agastya Muni is very significant. Agastya indicates that the senses do not act independently, and the word Muni means mind. The mind is the center of all senses, and thus the senses cannot work independent of mind. When the mind takes the cult of bhakti, it engages in devotional service. The cult of Bhakti Lata or Bhakti is the first daughter of Malayadvaja. Uh, this daughter, one daughter and 7 sons. The daughter, who is none other than the Bhakti, is the first daughter of Malayadvaja, and as previously described, her eyes are always upon Krishna. Asitekshanam. One cannot render bhakti to any demigod. Prabhupada emphasizes here very important point that one cannot render bhakti to any demigod. Bhakti can be rendered only to Vishnu. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Kirtanam, Shravanam, Vishnu. Thinking the absolute truth to be without form. The Mayavadi says that the word bhakti can apply to any form of worship. If this were the case, a devotee could imagine any demigod or any godly form and worship it. This, however, is not the real fact. The real fact is that bhakti can be applied only to Lord Vishnu and his expansions. Therefore, Bhakti Lata or Dhrida Vrata, the great vow, for when the mind is completely engaged in devotional service, the mind does not fall down. If one tries to advance by other means, by karma yoga, jnana yoga, one will fall down. But if one is fixed in bhakti, he never falls down. That's why thus the from Bhakti Lata, this daughter, the son who came was Dridachyuta is born, and from Dridachyuta next son, Idmavaha is born. The word Idmavaha refers to one who carries wood for burning in sacrifice when approaching a spiritual master. So what is happening is when one gets into a track of devotional life, what happens? Obviously, his children will become devotees. What will they do? They engage in active bhakti. This is what happens here. What is happening? One so fixed never comes down, and he begets children who are strict followers of Shastric injunctions as stated in the Vedas, tad vijnanartam sagurum evabhigachet samit pani shrotriyam brahmanishtam. In the line of devotional service, those who are initiated are strict followers of Vedic spiritual injunctions. And then what happened further? Now the job is done. What is that? The kids, the seven kids, mm, took over seven continents. Yeah, they were ruling till end of the time of the Manus. That is done, and the daughter is now got married to Agastya Muni. After this, the great saintly king Malayadhvaja divided his entire kingdom among his sons. Then, in order to worship Lord Krishna with full attention, he went to a solitary place called Kulachala. So, this is what we understand that mm, um, this Malaya Dhwaja, the great king, is certainly a Mahabhagavat, top devotee. By executing devotional service, he begot many sons and disciples for propagating the bhakti cult. Actually, the entire world should be divided among such disciples. Everyone should be engaged in preaching the cult of Krishna consciousness. In other words, while disciples are grown up and are able to preach, the spiritual master should retire and sit down in a solitary place to write and execute what to do? Nirjana. Nirjana means solitary. Nirjana bhajana. Why? Because then his yeah, we can also see how in last chapters what we were reading in Prabhupada Leelamrita, Prabhupada was always interested in doing what? In bhajan, always remembering, writing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, always chanting, hearing. Yeah, even when he was approaching his leaving of this planet, then what he asked, always there should be 4 5 people around me who are reading Bhagavatam or doing Kirtan. So, Nirjana Bhajana means the Guru has already spread the word and he has already devotees, disciples who can spread on his behalf. And then what Guru does is that he is going into this, uh, into writing. This is what it says, sits down in a solitary place to write. It is very, very difficult to write when we are among people, when we have so many activities. We may have a great idea of writing, but it's not so easy unless one gets freedom from such kind of obligations or opportunity. Yeah. So one should already achieve everything. Then he can go to solitary place and perform nirjana bhajan. This means sitting silently in a solitary place and executing devotional service. This nirjan bhajan, which is the silent worship of the Supreme Lord, is not possible for a neophyte devotee. So this is not possible. If one even wants, but they can't do. Why? Because for neophyte devotees, it's not possible. What is it prescribed for neophyte devotees? Sri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur never advised a neophyte devotee to go to a solitary place to engage in devotional service. Indeed, he has written a song in this connection. Dushtamana Tumi Kisera Vaishnava Pratishtara Tare Nirjanera Ghare Tava Harinama Kevala Kaitava. Kaitavan means, yeah, action. My dear mind, what kind of devotee are you? Simply for cheap adoration, you sit in a solitary place and pretend to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but this is all cheating. Srimad Bhagavatam is the means through which one can overcome all these inner pitfalls. Thus, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur advocated that every devotee under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, preach the bhakti cult, Krishna consciousness all over the world. Only when one is mature can he sit in a solitary place and retire from preaching all over the world. Following this example, the devotees of ISKCON now render service as preachers in various parts of the world. Now they can allow the spiritual master to retire from active preaching work. In the last stage of spiritual master's life, the devotees of the spiritual master should take preaching activities into their own hands. In this way, the spiritual master can sit down in a solitary place and render Nirjan Bhajan. Hitva Grahan Sutam Bhogan. Anyway, so further it says that just as the moonshine follows the moon at night, immediately after King Malayadwaja departed to Kulachal, his devoted wife, uh, whose eyes were very enchanting, followed him. So this Puranjani also went with whom? Her husband. So it is, Prabhupada mentions about the Varnashram and Vanaprastha ashram, especially here. Just as in the Vanaprastha stage, the wife follows the husband. Similarly, when the spiritual master retires from for Nirjana Bhajan, uh, uh, we know usually we may see that a spiritual master in the advanced stage, in the advanced age, he might need assistance. And some advanced disciples can follow him. Some of his advanced devotees follow him and engage in his personal service. In other words, those who are very fond of family life should come forward in the service of spiritual master and abandon so-called happiness offered by society, friendship, and love. Usually, we have this problem. We cannot deny love. We are not denying friendship. We are not denying the society. That's why we are just caught up in this Vishaya. We are caught up in this material business. A verse from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in Guru Ashtakam. What is it? Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada is mentioned, which means a disciple should always remember that by serving the spiritual master, he can easily advance in Krishna consciousness. And this means if a guru is going, yeah, to, yeah, either it could be a Nirjana Sthan, or whether it is a very, very dangerous Sthan, very difficult, but still a disciple can advance, can attain Bhagavan. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasada. It is only by the mercy of Guru one can get it. All the scriptures recommended that it is by pleasing the spiritual master and serving him directly that one can attain the highest perfectional stage of devotional service. And then, yeah, here there is a word Madirekshana. What is Madirekshana means? We know Madira. Madira, I think in Hindi, right? What is that? Alcohol or intoxication. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained in Sandarbha that the word Madira means intoxicating. If one's eyes become intoxicated upon seeing the deity, he may be called as Madirekshana. Queen Vaidarbhi eyes were very enchanting, just as one's eyes are Madirekshana when engaged in seeing the temple deity. Unless one is an advanced devotee, he cannot fix his eyes on the deity in the temple. And then further it goes. Now what happens is very, very important. I don't know how much time we have. In the province of Kulachal, there were rivers named Chandravasa, Tamraparni, and Vatogata. And then King Malayadwaja used to go to these pious rivers regularly and take his bath there. Thus, he purified himself externally and internally. Now, how does this river bath can purify? Of course, I also heard that if one takes bath in the ocean, then his nervous system is strengthened, his bones are strong. Yeah, but here, what does this mean is Prabhupada writes that we can definitely see that to advance in Krishna consciousness, one must control his bodily weight. Here, that's the reverse, visiting the rivers and cleaning process. What does it mean? If one becomes too fat, it is to be assumed that he is not advancing spiritually. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur severely criticized his fat disciples. The idea is that one who intends to advance in Krishna consciousness must not eat very much. Devotees used to go to the forests, high hills, or mountains on pilgrimages, but such severe austerities are not possible in these days. So one should instead eat only prasad and no more than required. And then, of course, Prabhupada says that is That's where we have the benefit of all these Ekadasi fasting. According to Vaishnava calendar, there are many fasts such as Ekadashi and appearance and disappearance days of God and his devotees. All of these are meant to decrease the fat within the body so that one will not sleep more than desired and will not become inactive and lazy. Overindulgence in food will cause a man to sleep more than required. This human form of life is meant for austerity, and austerity means controlling sex, food intake, etc. In this way, time can be saved for spiritual activity and one can purify himself both externally and internally. Thus, both body and mind can be cleansed. And then, through austerity, King Malayadhwaja in body and mind gradually became equal to the duality of cold and heat, happiness and distress, wind and rain, hunger and thirst, the pleasant and unpleasant. In this way, he conquered all relativities. This is Samadarshinaha. He is getting Sukha Dukkha iti Dvandva Vani Ajayat, conquered Samadarshina by having this equipiousness. This is also what happens when a devotee is maturing himself. He understands that he was too sensitive. Now he knows what is stability, how to be a dhira, is not to give into all this disturbances, calamities. What is the word used here? Dualities. What is happening? Liberation means becoming free from the relativities of the world. Unless one is self-realized, he has to undergo the dual struggle of relative world. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna advised Arjuna to conquer all relativities through what? Tolerance, to become dhira. Lord Krishna points out that in the relativities like winter and summer, that gives us titikshasva bharata. Then what is happening? Give us trouble in the material world. In the winter, we do not like taking a bath, but in summer we wish to take bath twice, thrice, or more. Thus, Krishna advises us not to be disturbed by such relativities and dualities when they come and go. So, such acts of renunciation are not possible in this age. Therefore, Krishna has advised us to accept Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga will automatically liberate a person from the dualities. In Bhakti Yoga, Krishna is the center and Krishna is also transcendental. Thus, in order to transcend dualities, one must always engage in the service of the Lord. Mam chayo vibicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samitityanan samatityaitan brahma bhuvaya kalpate. What does that mean? One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall in any circumstance, at once transcend the modes of material nature. If one is factually engaged in service of the Lord, Bhakti Yoga, he will automatically control his senses, his tongue, and so many other things. Once engaged in Bhakti Yoga process with all sincerity, one will have no chance of falling down. Even if one falls down, then what is happening? Even if by chance he falls down, but as soon as there is another chance, the practitioner begins from the point where he left off. This is what happened in the case of King Puranjan. In his next birth, he became Puranjani, and then because he had association, good fortune of Malaya Dwaja in the form of her husband, then she followed him and served him and came right back on track. So this goes. And then it is further said, then what happened to Malaya Dwaja? What did he do? By worshipping, he fixed everything on the central point of the Supreme Brahman. Um, this is what? Yuyuje Brahmani Atmanam. And then one may think Brahman here means Brahma Jyoti. Prabhupada writes in the purport, fixing the mind by austerity, knowledge, niyama, yama, and he conquered his senses, air life, and consciousness and fixed his mind on Brahman. Now, Prabhupada writes here, what is Brahman? In he says the Supreme Brahman is conscious, is Krishna. Whenever the word Brahman appears, the impersonalists take this to be the impersonal effulgence, Brahma Jyoti. Actually, however, Parabrahma, the Supreme Brahman, is Krishna, Vasudeva. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7:19, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Vasudeva extends everywhere as the impersonal Brahman. One cannot fix one's mind upon an impersonal something. Huh? Bhagavad Gita 12:5 therefore says, Klesho adhika taras tesham avyakta shakta chetasa. For those whose mind are attached to unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. Consequently, when it is said herein that King Malayadvaja fixed his mind on Brahman, Brahman means the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. So that I don't know, was it with you, Suryatesh Prabhu? Yeah, it's very, very important because the same word can have multiple meanings and one may not understand it unless we have heard from authorized um, authentic source. Yeah, I don't know with whom I said. Ashte Sthanur Avaikatra. So then in this way he stayed immovable in one place for 100 years by the calculation of demigods. After this he developed pure devotional service for Krishna. We know this. Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanamam Mam Prapadyante Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabham. It's not just like as soon as I started doing my japa, first round, second round, I become Mahatma. As soon as if I'm taking Bhagavad Gita and I'm talking about the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, I don't become Mahatma. When I realize the teachings of this, mm, for which, yeah, here we see there is so much sadhana is needed, so much practice is needed to become a pure devotee. So after many births and death, he is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Knowing to me, what is that? Vasudeva Sarvamiti. This is our big problem. We may think, no, no, no. I think uh, Lord is all fine, Lord, but we are not accepting Him that He is the source of everything and everything rests in Him. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that one realizes this after many, many births. It is also confirmed in the words Divyam Varsha Satam, 100 years, according to the calculation of demigods. According to the calculation, anyway, this is further detail. So King Malayadwaja executed austerities and penances for 36,000 years. After this time, he became fixed in devotional service of the Lord. To live on earth for so many years, one has to take birth many times. This confirms the conclusion of Krishna. What is that? Bahunam Janmanam Ante. He has to take many births. This is what Krishna is saying. To come to the conclusion of Krishna consciousness and remain fixed in the realization that Krishna is everything, as well as render service to Krishna, are characteristics of perfectional stage. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is this Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hayam. When one comes to the conclusion that Krishna is everything by worshipping or by rendering devotional service unto Krishna, one actually becomes perfect in all respects. Not only must one come to the conclusion that Krishna is everything, but he must remain fixed in this realization. This is the highest perfection of life, and it is a perfection that King Malaya Dhwaja attained at the end. So this is very, very important. This is the key that, yeah, you all are very, very fortunate that you are hearing about Krishna. You are hearing Bhagavatam, reading Bhagavatam, and doing Kirtan, Japa. You're getting very, very close. I think I think, yeah, I mean, we can, it is, I think Indrajan Maharaj was mentioning we are just one lifetime away from our goal. We are so close, and let's not blow off at this stage. I don't know, I think it is Indrajan Maharaj or Kadam Karan Maharaj. One of them mentioned that. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj also, yeah, says, just give this one lifetime to me. Yeah, I think is that to Anish Rupa? Yeah, there is one brahmachari in our Gauradesh temple who aspired to take Diksha from Bhakti Charu Maharaj. I don't know. So when he met first time, he just said he understood everything about him. He asked all the questions, and then he just said, "Just give this one lifetime to me." What does it mean? That to become Krishna conscious devotee, because we are just so close. We don't want to blow off at this stage by again, what is it? No, not must not only must one come to the conclusion Krishna is everything, but he must remain fixed in this realization. This is the highest perfection of life, and it is this perfection that King Malayadhwaja attained at the end. King Malayadhwaja attained perfect knowledge by being able to distinguish between super soul from individual soul, and individual soul is localized, whereas the super soul is all pervasive. He became perfect in knowledge that that the material body is not the soul, but the soul is the witness of material body. So this science of Bhagavad Gita, this is what is mentioned in the next verses, mentioning that uh, the instructions for a disciple. This is what we should understand from the Malayadhwaja. Uh, uh, and who is Malayadhwaja? The husband of Vaidarbi. And what Vaidarbi did is that she just took shelter of that enlightened soul. Who is that? No, Malayadvaja, who is a great devotee, who is Mahabhagavat. And then there is whole philosophy, purports Prabhupada gives here. But from we see that Sakshad Bhagavatoktena, so one gets enlightenment, that he sees that there is this Chaitya Guru, the Lord from within is going to help one to understand who is the Guru, real Guru, in externally manifested form that he can approach. And then, being directly instructed by the Lord as Chaitya Guru, he developed transcendental knowledge by which he could understand everything from all the angles of vision. So there might be so many philosophies, but because of this blessings of a guru is able to streamline the vision, observe the super soul and the soul, and sitting side by side together without separate interest, abstain from all material activities. And this way, when the devotee is serious and sincere, the Lord gives direction from within. And then what happened now? Malayadvaja became fixed. In this way, Malayadvaja attained perfect knowledge and completely got fixed. And then Vaidarbhi, this Puranjani, the daughter of Vidarbha, accepted her husband all in all as the supreme. Vaidarbhi accepted her husband as the supreme, served her husband with devotion, giving up all enjoyment. I mean, I don't know how much, this verses from here to 43 to 50 are very nice, because this is about a devotee, how a devotee should be, how a devotee should very sincerely serve his guru. Our disciple should worship his guru as life and soul, as supreme. Served husband. Figuratively, here we see that Malayadvaja is the spiritual master and Vaidarbhi is the disciple, and the disciple accepts the spiritual master as the supreme lord. That is the understanding. Then, in old garments, she was lean due to austerity, and her hair was matted. Though always near her husband, she was silent like the flame of an undisturbed fire. Which means the every word of spiritual master, the disciple has accepted as it is. He has no more wavering. He is no more disturbed by the material influences. If a disciple remains steady in serving his spiritual master, he need no longer fear falling down into the clutches of Maya. So then what do one do? Then one renders service. So she continued to serve her husband, and unaware of even he passed away. She was just serving and serving, that she was so much absorbed. And she didn't even realize that her husband even has already left the world. And then afterwards, how did she feel? Not feeling the warmth of his feet, she understood that he had passed away. Thus, she felt exactly like a deer separated from its mate. And it is said that when the guru departs from the world, disciples should have this genuine feeling of separation and should also lament. Being now alone and a widow in the forest, she lamented incessantly, shedding tears and crying very loudly. So, yeah, the Vapu association which one have with the Guru, when it is gone, it is not a celebration of yeah, relief. After all, now I don't need to serve. No, one should take very seriously and follow the law, the Guru in the form of his Vani instructions. Vaidarbhi, she said, "Oh, best of the kings, please get up. You must protect this frightened world surrounded by seas from thieves and false kings. There are so many bogus agendas. Oh, my spiritual master, how can you leave us like this? Please come us again and protect us." Lamenting in the forest, she fell down at the feet of her dead husband and began to cry pitifully and shed tears. And then she placed the dead body. We know this. What is? She placed the dead body on the funeral pyre. Lamenting severely, she prepared herself to enter the fire with her husband. The disciple should be ever eager to follow the spiritual master. In the case of Ramayana, we see that Shabari was eager to go where Matanga Rishi, her guru, went so that she can engage in his service always. A devoted disciple would rather die with the spiritual master than fail to execute his mission or to execute the will of the spiritual master. The disciple should be prepared to lay down his life and abandon all personal considerations. So here the Vaidarbhi, when she wants to enter into the fire, it's not that she want a relief, but she want to be with her spiritual yeah, with her spiritual master, um, giving up all personal interests behind. Okay, I'll stop here. Any thoughts, questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Prabhuji. This was a very good session. You explained it very nicely. I have a couple of questions, especially regarding neophytes. So I understand that neophyte is someone who is a beginner or who is just starting to explore and understand. So especially for beginners, it is very common or it happens a lot that the circle around her or him, um, often they come into discussions that they have to justify why and how why and why they are doing something. For example, giving up some eating habits or some lifestyle changes, and that person being a neophyte or beginner does not really know everything about it to um, to explain nicely to others who doesn't know anything about it. So what is the best thing to do in that situation for them? Like how can they explain nicely, and also not being rude and do not not criticizing someone
Mhm. Yeah,
by saying, yeah.
very nice question. So we are not yet there, but how to
Yeah,
we are convinced, but how to make others also appreciate what we are convinced.
yeah,
Is that your
especially in the
question?
crowd, Prabhuji, where there are multiple people.
Is that your question or?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is a very nice question. So that's why we have examples. We have examples from Puranas, we have examples from Shastras, how, what if one does, what will happen, yeah, what has happened. Okay, but people may not have so much faith in these books or scriptures, yeah, because they might be following something else or not at all want to follow something. So, but for what about them? Then we can bring case studies. Yeah, this is also what we do in the science, right? In science, what is done? There are these case studies through which you quantify what is your conclusions or your assumptions, and then the more it proves, the more you accept it, right? So what we can do is we can show devotees in our circle who are doing and what are they attaining, what they have attained, they have achieved. Just like, for example, there is also this, I think it's this, um, there is this Varalakshmi Vratam, yeah, where this Charu, I don't remember the full name. Yeah, she has experienced how to perform, where Lakshmi Devi came and told what to do, and she did it and she became rich. Yeah, so there's a good example, and people are still doing today, so that how they can become um, blessed with Aishwarya, opulences. Right. So anyway, coming, the point is that when you're asking how can, yeah, it's always nice when you have yourself backed up with some case studies or examples. You can bring examples which are very close, that can be a more impact. If you don't have good examples around you, yeah, then you can start reading about great people. Like, for example, how, if you're talking about detachment, you can tell about how, for example, Swayam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj has detached, yeah, at such an young age. Yeah, or you can tell about how there were so many hippies, how they became happies. So there are always examples through which, and for that matter, that's the reason. I mean, when we are reading Prabhupada Lilamrut every Friday, we are getting to know. Yeah, we are not talking about different Puranas times. Give me 1 second, please. Sorry. Where I was, yeah, examples. So that means we should be knowledgeable. We should understand the realizations, and that's the reason why sadhu sang can help us a lot. The realization need not be too big. The realization need not be too about great people. Even in our own, yeah, circle, sadhu sang, we can see how one is gradually changing. One may be non-vegetarian, and we can see how one has given up that non-vegetarian propensity, not forcefully, but yeah, willingly. Isn't that a proof? I mean, for as an example, I would just say.
Yes, Prabhuji, but giving up meat, we might appreciate, but the person who is
No, no, I'm
listening,
saying the person who has given up, I'm saying we can appreciate that he has
yes,
given up.
yeah, yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that we can see the examples, like just like how amazing it is if someone who is a smoker and if he gives up, is it not an inspiration
Yes, Prabhuji.
for a person
That's
who is not able to give up? He says, "Hey, it's possible," and then when he is in that, then he is getting the knowledge of how to give it up. What are the ways? Yeah. Oh, it's very difficult, but now they could do it. How?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji, that's correct.
So when we are in the midst of association, when we ourselves are seeing how, uh, then we have examples to speak. We have, yeah, as I said, case studies. And when we are talking about, um, yeah, we are not talking about 50 years back. We are talking about few years back. Yeah. Then that helps us, and then we are inspired. Then there is this Komala Bhakti, Komala Shraddha. Sorry, Komal Shraddha means, okay, that there is this little hope now I have, let me try. Hmm? We cannot expect everyone will give up everything in a day. Yeah, but at least they have now some level of um, uh, some level of mm, not confidence, some level of acceptance that this can happen. So not 100% acceptance, but yeah, just little. And they will just use that little, which is called Komal Shraddha, and then they will see the result. Then it can become bigger. Just like a spark of fire, we may not see, right? But there is a small spark of fire. But then when we properly um, give it all favorable environment and facilities, then what is happening? Then it actually becomes a big fire, right? So it all starts, it doesn't happen all of a sudden, yeah, but it starts from somewhere. And that what how we can do is we can relate to the person, to what he is, and then bring it to him, the message. Like for example, if you are from India, you may know all Indian dishes, huh? But you may not know all Mexican dishes, right? Huh?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Once I invited a colleague of mine who is an African. For us, no, or actually he invited us. No, no, we invited him, and then we offered curd rice as one of the course of the. He was surprised. Hey, can curd be made rice? And then of course he didn't appreciate too much. He didn't too much, but after a few days he was saying, "Oh, it's so nice." He didn't eat that day, but he enjoyed it. Maybe so. I don't know. What I see, I think can definitely be an option is by citing more and more examples, real life examples around, so that the person understands. Yeah, yeah. And of course, if your example didn't change one's opinion, yeah, then maybe that he already has a different opinion about your examples. Yeah, you can also understand, yeah, because as you said, you were telling about how did you start your question to your close circle, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So your close circle means you should be also able to understand what he might need, what he may not appreciate. So then you can also see, okay, this didn't work, so maybe something else is better. So you can just in that way um, find options. Because if you
Okay.
just tell, hey, come, let's go and sit in a Bhagavatam class for 2 hours, now, one will say, hey, 2 hours is too much. Yeah, I know. He may not come. Yeah. But if you can
Yeah.
just, uh, you know, uh, understand what he will appreciate in that, and you just are able to present that, then he will appreciate the whole essence of the whole class.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Second question. I don't know if first question you want to discuss.
Yes, Prabhuji, it answered. Yeah. Second question is also in the same direction. So you told sometimes when a pure devotee gets into a conversation with non-devotee, then you told who will come out victorious. But if there is a beginner in the same situation where someone
Mhm.
is continuously keeping on criticizing, and the person or who is a devotee is not able to justify or not able to, not able to take the conversation forward, what is the best way? It's just that they can come out of it, or just that they stop the discussion there?
Yeah. It is, I mean, an example for this is a swimmer. Just, I don't know how good you are a swimmer, but if you are a beginner, you will not risk yourself to go more deeper, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
And this world is considered or compared like a deep ocean with a lot of sharks and, whales. No? And usually they don't come on the surface, right? They are more in the deep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
On the surface, yeah, there is no problem. So the more deeper we go into that, where we ourselves are not well versed, not well equipped, not experienced, then what happens is there is a chance that we may not appreciate. Just like if someone may think, hey, now I'm a devotee, I have given up all these four habits, and now I can go to even, yeah, sometimes there is this idea, because preachers want to preach everywhere. Why can't we go to red light area where there is a lot of karmis? Let's change them. There is a chance that we may change ourselves. Yeah, we may start appreciating. Yeah, you know what? I was once looking for a girl who is having all these right shapes and sizes, and now I can find them. Oh, only thing is that I have given up bhakti. Sorry, given up all this. I have joined this. No, when you're feeling so much pity on yourself, one day or the other you will start saying, "Okay, after all, this life is my life. Let me go and enjoy." Anyway, this is an example, but what I want to say is that what happens is that when you are in people, and that's why it said Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one of the challenging things is to be in with non-devotees. Yeah. And then associating with non-devotees is very, very harmful to our own bhakti, because we ourselves are not sure what is right, what is wrong. We are just thinking, our just like Kanishta Adhikari, his faith can be twisted. His faith can change. Today it is one, tomorrow it can be something else. When we are in that stage, we don't want to risk. Just like a small seedling that is coming up, we need to properly protect with fencing around it so that no one just comes and stamps. After you become very strong, just like a tree, the fence is not required. You yourself can just go into the other trees, then there is no problem. So, I mean, anyway, coming back to your question, what should you do? Yeah, you just be very sensitive to see what you can, uh, how you are not disturbed. When you feel, yeah, it's getting too much, yeah, then you just find a way to move on from there. Or even if the conversation, there's so many things I don't know, just be very honest, and you can simply say, hey, I don't know anything. I'm just trying to know now. Yeah. And of course, I'm following a process. I'm just following that. We don't have to prove ourselves that, hey, no, I know I'm better than you. I know better than you. No, just accept that I don't know. Yeah, this is what the safe ground, right? If you're already fallen, will you fall further?
No, no.
Yeah, just say, hey, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, we know, yeah, we know better than others. But there is, when we say, hey, maybe that whatever he's telling, I don't know, there is always a possibility. But yeah, I'm just taking to the process so that one day I may come to his level to understand what is he saying, whether it is fact or not. At the moment, I don't know. So better to be far.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah, to be very, very vigilant. We don't want, it's not that, okay, we don't want to save others. Yeah, just like in the swimming, right? If we are very strong swimmers, we can save and bring someone else out. But if we ourselves are weak now, we don't want to give a hand. Yeah, it's very dangerous that we are pulled also into the, yeah, into that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
Prabhuji.
Ritesh Prabhu.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you. Other questions, please, or anyone want to share anything? Anything anyone appreciated apart from these? Have not appreciated anything? I think the other question is. Hare Krishna. Can all of you say Hare Krishna at least once?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare
I'm just
Krishna.
thinking two things happen when a class happens. Now people usually fall asleep. Yeah, maybe that could be a reason, or people would have already left the chair because this is a virtual forum. Yeah, so I just wanted to check. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpadabhyascha kripa sindhubhyavacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.